I'm here with Lips from Anvil in Toronto. How are you tonight?
I'm okay. He's okay.
So tonight is the second show at the Rock Pile. Last night you guys played the first show. How did that first show go?
How did the other show go?
Yeah.
Like last night?
Last night.
It was fine.
It was a good show?
Yeah.
Do you feel like this is a good warm-up for the US tour that's coming just around the corner?
I don't really need to warm up, but okay.
Are you excited about the tour in the US?
No.
You're not looking forward to it?
Well, it's not a question of looking forward to it. It's more touring. More. It's like well, it's my job, and it's hard to say that I'm excited about doing my job. I just do my job. I love my job. You know, it's not a question of excitement. It's a matter of duty and pleasure, really. You know, that's really what it is. You know, it's like, are you excited about having pleasure? I guess to a certain level, but I'm in constant pleasure, so it's more. Like I said, on the top, it's just more.
Do you find that when I checked the latest album, Pounding the Pavement, the name of the record itself, do you feel like that name really reflects the band?
Well, it certainly did at the moment. When you think about 40 years of doing this, that's what we've been doing, is pounding the pavement, trying to find customers. It's like I talk about sometimes during the show as being a vacuum cleaner salesman. You go door to door, or you go club to club, and you do a demonstration. You'll throw dirt on the rug, you vacuum it up, show how good the machine works. In this case, we play a bunch of our songs, we jump around on stage, we show you how great the band is, and then we point to the merch table and say, buy some Anvil. So yeah, that's pounding the pavement. We're looking for clientele.
Now, do you prefer to play in smaller venues or larger venues?
I prefer smaller venues.
Do you feel like it's more intimate?
It is more intimate. I don't feel it. It is. It is where it's really where the heartbeat is. You know, I've done both, and I can tell you that right now that there's no comparison. Being right there in the same room and 10 feet away from your, 2 feet away from your audience and being right in their face is the way. That's the ultimate. Nothing gets better than that.
Not even playing in a huge crowd,
No.
big venue, outdoors venue.
No.
There's a disconnect in that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Totally disconnected.
As a fan yourself, when you go to a show, do you prefer also the smaller venues?
I also prefer to see bands in a small venue. Sure, come on, man. Like, I only wish that I got to see Judas Priest at the Combo. That's a show I missed. I wish to this day that I didn't miss that show.
Besides that show, by the way, now, do you have any other regrets as missing bands that you really followed as a youth that you perhaps didn't get a chance to see? Is there any on your bucket list, if you could go back in time, that you would try to catch those shows? Or those specific bands?
Yeah, it would be great. Like, one of the greatest experience, one of my great experiences was actually seeing Michael Schenker here and sitting on the stairs right beside his amp. Like, that's, what could be better than that? I'm not going to do that in a big festival, am I? You know what I mean? So, like, no, it doesn't compare. Okay, seeing the Runaways in 1977 at the Combo was fucking great. You know, standing right in front of the stage, taking pictures with my camera, and it's like I didn't need a telephoto lens; they're right there. You know, and sound-wise, they're right there. It's like that's the best. It's the best, in my opinion.
At the end of the day, you're not just a musician; you're also a fan.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
my favorite places to see bands are in small places, and they always have been, because then you really saw them. You really saw them, and they saw you. It's true.
You've played all over the place, all over the world. If you had to pick a country, specific country to play in, which one would you pick?
Good question, but not really, because you can't really answer it. You know what I'm saying? Every place it's really all the same, but it's really what you're doing when on the times that you're not on stage that make the biggest differences, really. I love the UK. I always have. But I think part of the attraction is the fact that they speak English. I mean, that makes a big difference, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But certain places I feel like perhaps have a better vibe besides the language barrier. Like when you play in Japan, for example, do you feel like there's a different vibe there from the fans?
Oh, there is.
As far as the metal
Absolutely.
community is concerned?
Very different. People are really way more polite. You know, you play a song, bang, that song ends, everybody claps, cheers, silence. They wait to hear what you got to say, and you could hear a pin drop. I mean, you know, you look at the beginning of look at the show in Japan that they showed in the movie. We're going on to stage and we had no idea there's anybody even in the crowd. They're silent until we got on stage and the light came on. Then the people start screaming. Until that moment, it's completely silent. So there's no one there. So it's a different vibe.
I have one last question for you, and since you touched on the story of Anvil, the documentary that came out, it's on Netflix right now for anybody that wants to go and watch it. I was absolutely mesmerized by the story. It was gripping. It was incredible from a music side of things, but from a personal side of things, it's been quite the journey. Your perseverance during that journey is something like absolutely incredible. I think a lot of people in your place perhaps would have given up a long time ago, and you never gave up. Is that something that you're really proud of, that drive that you have?
Well, it's something I was born with. I mean, it was against my parents' wishes, so it's always been like a salmon going upstream, you know. Anyway, so you kind of get used to it, and that's the way your life is. So you're used to it. I don't know any different. When I went through it and when I was going through it, I didn't think that it was anything that I shouldn't be doing or that no one else does. I didn't think that it was that big a deal. It's only afterwards that everyone goes, man, what you've persevered. Okay. But from my perspective, I got to do exactly what I wanted to do and got away with it. I mean, you know, when the band first started, we were here in Canada. There was no such thing as heavy metal. That term didn't even exist. Never mind the bands themselves. We were one of the only hard rock bands out there at all that played our own material. No one played original music. It's like, who plays original music? You can't get gigs. Oh yes, you can. Watch me. You know, how do you get gigs? You put on a good show. You know, you got to be outstanding, and then you get away with playing your own material, and then all of a sudden you're a real band. You're not playing somebody else's songs. Not my mind. And you know, like I say, that since day one, people said, you can't write your own music. Oh yes, I can. Oh, you'll never make it. Oh yes, I can. And I've been saying, oh yes, I can my whole entire life. And so nothing's changed. And that includes right till now.
Well, when you look back at the documentary, when you guys were filming and when you guys were doing it, did you feel that documentary is going to have the impact?
Oh, I knew immediately. Because it wasn't some jackass with a video camera. It's somebody who was a screenwriter for Steven Spielberg doing a movie about me. Guess what? And I'm going to bring it. Because I knew I'm going to bring it. And I got somebody who's going to fucking pick that shit up and run with it and get someplace with it. I knew it on the onset. I knew before the director knew. I knew before he did. He didn't, you know, when he told me I'm going to make a movie about you, I broke out crying. He's going, what are you crying about? I go, because I've waited fucking, you know, all my whole life for this moment to happen, and now it's happening. And he goes, what's happening? I go, and I'm going to get the recognition that I've been looking for my whole life. I says, my break. my ship just came in, and I recognized it for what it was. And it turned out that that's exactly what it was. I haven't worked a regular job in 10 years since the movie came out. It worked. As far as I'm concerned, what, I'm not as big as AC/DC? How are you ever going to do that? You can't make up for fucking 30 years of lost time. You can't do it, no matter what you do. You know, we had gotten a great start, did 3 albums, and then got shot down in flames, man, because we got signed to a Canadian label, and when the big time American manager tried to sell the 3 albums that we'd recorded for a Canadian label to an American label, they didn't want to pay for it. Give it to us for free. Well, what do you think the Canadian label said? What are you, fucking nuts? What are you gonna you gonna go work for free? After or you're gonna, you know, like if you were owned that label, after you've invested in a band and they're going, okay, we'll put out your records, but we're not gonna pay you for it. Who in their right mind is gonna agree to that? So they didn't agree to it. So what do you think happened? 3 albums, and the choo-choo train stops going. Because the manager pulled us out of the record deal that we did have, and then we had nothing for 4 fucking years. Between 83 and 87, no records. And in that period of time, everybody and his brother came out with albums all over. All of a sudden, America got turned on to heavy metal, and what's Anvil? Never got a break. And you know, I can keep talking about a break. A real break is when you get a major distribution with major promotion, and you get a real tour. What's a real tour? Playing with Ozzy, playing with Metallica, or playing with, you know, one of the big bands, and going out on a real tour and playing in all the hockey arenas all across the country. That's how you really make it. And if you don't get that spot, like Metallica got to open for Ozzy, if you don't get that spot, you're never going to make it. Same thing with Motley Crue. You never would have heard of Motley Crue if they hadn't got the tour with Ozzy. It's just the way it works. And that's the break. And here I am 42 years into this business. I still haven't gotten that break. Even after the movie, I still didn't get that break. You'd think, wow, look at all the publicity that the band got, but I never got the tour that you need to break the band, to make it a viable thing. The only way to get viable and get credibility is to be put in front of real audiences in real venues on a consistent basis. Until that happens, you're not getting your break. And that's how the music business has worked and has always worked. And that's the reality of it. You know, so people having expectations of saying, well, Anvil, they got that movie, they should have made it. Yeah, right. Without the break, without getting the tour with Metallica, without getting the tour with Guns N' Roses, or the tour with AC/DC, no, they're going to give it to another band who's signed to a major label, and the major label is just whacking out dough. It's like I said, you need the promotion, the promotional tool, the infrastructure, which is record companies. Now, having said that, record companies virtually don't exist because you can't sell records anymore. You can't sell CDs. Everybody's streaming. So what do you get for streaming records? So, you know, you get 6 million streams on your song, and you get 50 cents. That's not going to tour support you. That's not going to put you on a big time tour. It's just not going to work. So most of what I'm talking about, it's wrong time. So I'm not talking about it being bitter. I'm talking about the realities of what it all is. And I've overcome all of it just by the fact that I've been playing, like I said, for the last 10 years, doing it the way I want to do it in small venues. I'm one of the biggest club bands in the world. I don't stop touring, ever. I'm always on the road. I'm making a living.
Always pounding the pavement.
That's right, pounding the pavement, that's it. And I'm happy with that. I always have been happy with that. And that's fine, you know. Who needs the living up to to bullshit and being led around by the nose. You got to be this, that, or the other in order to sell your product. Well, no, I'm going to do it the way I want to do. I'm going to make the product that I want to make and do it my way, and I don't have to answer to anybody but to myself. That's the best, man. That's the best. That's making it. That's doing it on your own terms. Nothing is better than that. Nothing is more gratifying than that.
Well, I want to thank you for your time tonight. I want to wish you the best of luck on this tour. Hopefully everything goes well for you guys. You all deserve it.
Yeah, thanks, man.
You're ambassadors of Canadian metal, so you deserve everything the
We're
good
the
that
prime
comes.
ministers of Canadian heavy metal.
So you guys deserve everything the good that can come your way. So thank you very much for your time tonight, and have a wonderful tour.
Okay, thank you very much.